Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Civ Show podcast. We suck, so you don't have to. I'm your host, Moisos.
Raising Zozo.
And Nystagmus.
I actually forgot to launch Audacity.
Ho ho! Who's messing up now, boy? Whoa!
Let's redo that.
Hold on, I think I may have messed that up too myself. Actually,
I got mine going.
Oh no!
I got mine going.
Usually somebody reminds me. Oh no. Okay.
Yeah, it's usually me. Sorry, that's always me.
The audacity. The audacity.
Oh shoot! All right, let me know when you're good, and I'll restart it. Hey, chat. Hold on a sec. Technical difficulties.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm already recording.
Okay. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Civ Show podcast. We suck, so you don't have to. I'm your host, Moisos.
Raising Zozo.
And Nystagmus.
And let's talk about our big game hunters session we had last week. It was a new format that we introduced. It was 3 of us versus 5 deity level CPUs. However, it was still an 8-player free-for-all, and Zoe, spoiler alert, got the diplomatic victory, something we don't see every day here in the Civ Show. Can you give us a little bit of, maybe a little bit of speech, maybe some insight into how you did? Educate us. How good are you?
You know, guys, I'm a pretty modest guy. I'm not really one to give speeches, but I have something here prepared. It was a really good game. I am curious to see how our viewers like us fighting computers. It was a good challenge. Nystagmus had a brave moment where he stood up, challenged the computer. He kept his cool. He didn't fall apart. He wasn't ready to quit. He was ready to keep going and pushing forward. It was exciting to come and assist him in his war. Part of that statement was true. It was an interesting game. I think Rome actually fell, right? Rome
fell. Yeah, it did.
It was an example of how humans can unite together against Skynet, and indeed the Mali did. I started on my own continent, which I guess,
wow,
I don't know, I'm a big jerk.
Not
because
even one CPU on your continent,
I started on my own. It was a very small continent.
It doesn't matter. You had more land to claim than everybody else in the game.
It was a small continent, and I had such a slow start. It was a very slow start. Now, mind you, that's my strategy. I know it's a slow start because I've returned to the basics. I've gone back to the basics with my my Magnus and Golden Age.
So basically, Zoe's just like, so in this game was the tortoise versus the hare. Got off to a slow start. Everyone counted me out. In the end, I ended up winning.
It was actually the Traveler and the Peacock, but yeah, it was something very similar to that. Mali is probably up there number 2 after Canada. Really, it should be number 1. Mali's just so much gold.
They're right up your alley with the gold.
So much gold.
Alley.
Oh, I love it. I love how they replicate that. You know, the Mali were a gold-rich nation, and they replicate that by -1 production, +3 gold for every single mine you build. You have to buy all your forces in the end, which I guess, I don't know if buying your forces affects your experience for barracks and stuff like that. It might. I don't know if that's a building thing or whatever, but I totally maximized my gold, and I bought most of my armies, and I went from a very small force. Moy?
Yeah.
A very small force to a very big force, and I was able to come to Rome's aid, and we repelled all the evil, including the evil Koreans.
Hey, what do you mean evil Koreans? What are you talking about? What did I do wrong?
They declared war on us.
You declared war on me, dude. I don't know what you're talking about.
No. I don't. Maybe that might have happened. So yeah, it was a really fun game. I enjoyed it. You know, Nystagmus got back in the game, and yeah, I ended up winning with diplomatic victory.
What's your definition of get back in the game?
And you got your science back up. Um, Owls of Minerva is just fantastic. I had like 21 trade routes by the end, and it's so strange that they can both do domination and diplomatic in the end. That they're just that versatile.
Who? Sorry,
Um,
Mally?
the Owls of Minerva,
Oh.
because ultimately I had all these city states on side. I had tons of diplomacy points, so I was able to pass stuff. But like it also made it that I could support a massive army because of how much money I was making. And I think, other than the Americans who were my ally, I think I was a military leader for most of that.
With owls, I feel like you can kind of go in any direction because with money, you can go in any
Money,
direction,
money.
right? You can just buy your buildings. You don't have to waste production on them, especially with Mali, with having that additional production that they need in order
Hmm.
to build anything. It benefits them the most. It's like they're already really good at money. Why not just double down on the strategy, get more money, and you never have to build anything ever. You just keep buying things. Buy the library, buy the campus, buy the whatever, buy the research
I
lab.
and
It doesn't
and I
matter.
didn't I didn't even level up my financier until much later.
Really.
To and I sh- yeah I it was because I was using all of them. And maybe I should have focused a little more on the financier so that I could have bought districts. But yeah, it was cool. I had an amazing start, like not just the lone continent, which some of our viewers like to bring up how often that seems to happen. I think it's happened twice. But also, like I think like there's a shot of how much desert I had with Mali,
There's a
and
lot
as
there.
you get that adjacency food.
Your
And I took
continent kind of reminded me of Australia.
I agree. Like if Australia was in the north, because it was more up here. So yeah, it was a really cool start, and once I got my golden age, I just exploded with population and settled the most of the continent. I had a couple sandstorms though that wiped out
Shucks,
beautiful my beautiful plus like
been
18
more than
production
twice.
bonus. Yeah, I had a couple,
More than twice that you've
a
been on
Yeah,
your
couple. I
no,
continent.
it's
was
been more than
so
twice
mad.
that you've
I
been on
was
your continent. Let's agree that like it's been like maybe 5 times. I don't know off the
How
whip.
about, we're talking about that new thing that we're gonna do? Maybe we'll have a little thing in my corner here for how many times. Yeah,
So
How many
get my
times
own
spawned
I
continent.
think
alone?
we keep on
Yeah.
forgetting that a while ago we're doing computers now, but back in the before times, it would only be the three of us. And there's been a couple times where me and Moy always spawned on the same continent, and you like spawned somewhere else all by
Yeah, remember the
yourself.
last game of season one in
Um,
That's
Canada
in the
that you
before
spawned your own continent
time, in the
again?
long
Oh,
ago.
okay.
Okay,
and the before
like
times, but
I started on the same continent whenever we played Terra or Pangea, so I
Terra,
don't know
because
what the
everyone
big.
has to. What? Really? 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 I
so
almost fell
guys,
for that
like
one.
in the maps where everyone starts on the same continent, I've started on the same continent as you
Yeah,
guys,
guys,
even
come
though
on. It's only fair that I start
knowing
in the same
knowing
continent.
how the game has been going, I wouldn't be surprised if we did Terra and you didn't spawn on the same continent
Somehow.
Yeah,
with
some
Or
yeah.
it like it ends up being like there's like a little narrow like point that connects the continents, and technically I'm there, but
us.
yeah, maybe
And
like
then Bella's like, technically correct is the best kind of correct.
yes,
Maybe,
my entire continent's kind of a monster island.
maybe
Uh,
Lil Kaiju baby in chat opinions on fractal map. We've never actually played a fractal map yet.
we
However,
should try some
we should
fractal. That's
100%.
like that's like chaos,
It's a
right?
true
That's like
random. Yeah, anything like
it's
it's
all.
just whatever just gets spawned.
And then because there's fractal and there's shuffle. One of them is just a random one, and one of them is just crazy, right? That it
Oh,
just I think I don't know. Maybe
I
I'm crazy.
will
Is
look
there
this up.
fractal? I think there's fractal as well. I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe I'm
no,
making
I
up.
still think the
there
craziest
is.
one is if you play Primordial on apocalypse
We
mode.
did that.
It's like,
We
yeah,
did.
it goes insane. Your
I
cities
like. I liked
never
primordial.
recover.
I liked primordial.
I didn't mind it either. There was so much good fertile land
Yeah.
So
For sure.
I think I've also noticed another thing. I get hit with natural disasters quite a bit, like
Floods.
specific ones, right?
Floods.
Like floods are big on me. Like I'll have like 5 turns in a row where a flood will destroy my like my campus, and then I'll rebuild the campus, and then a flood destroys it as soon as I'm finished fixing it again.
Isn't the Roman thing the bath? Why didn't you just build a great bath? I just
I
if you,
did.
oh then you it's on you, man. I think you got it coming. If you built a great bath.
I also tend to like if I stay next to a volcano, I always get like the catastrophic eruptions. Like that seems to happen quite a
The
bit.
two
Yeah.
tile, yeah.
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 So yeah, man. That's why when you guys were talking about like, hey, maybe we should do like apocalypse mode, I'm like, especially even when we did apocalypse mode, didn't I also get most of my cities hit with meteors?
Probably.
Yeah.
You're our
Like,
light. Wait, didn't you? Weren't you at
like,
that meeting? You're our lightning rod for
Yeah,
disaster.
you're a
Right.
Kenny. Come on.
You make me and Moy look better. That's
That's why we keep you
your
around.
charm.
Yeah,
I could have sworn
that's
we
your
played a
deal.
game. We played a game with 5 meteors, right?
Yeah.
2 city-states were destroyed, and 3 of my cities were destroyed.
That was from pollution, right? That's when we got to the
And
end.
I wasn't even the
didn't
biggest
even
polluter,
pollute
like
the
even by
walls.
far. Like
I miss apocalypse. I think we need to do an apocalypse mode and secret societies at the
And
same time.
yeah, maybe. Back to the map thing because I have it
Back
pulled up.
yeah.
Yeah.
Fractal says unpredictable map that can result in many or few land masses. Shuffle.
Right.
All it says, what secrets will reveal this map, or what secrets will
Okay.
this map reveal? So like,
Because
it's a little
one of them, yeah, wasn't one of them like you could get like a tundra floodplain? Like it was like that mixed up.
that one might be
I think.
shuffle.
Yeah,
But I
maybe.
find that kind of
and
strange, but maybe.
I do agree with the shark stuff here. Like I am basically the bad luck bears of the Civ show. On top of the fact that I'm probably the worst player, so those two things together, just I guess it provides sympathy from my position, though,
You're
right?
the
Like
underdog.
people are like, "Come on, man, you can do it. You could do it."
Yeah. You're the little Civ that could, you know. I, and people like that. I think they want to see you do well, and they want to see the big jerk Civs like Zoe here. They want to see me falter and fall.
You're the Kenny of the group. You're like, oh my god, you
Yeah.
killed Kenny. Like if Zoe or me were to kill you, like you killed the
Yeah.
why are you killing the
You-
Stagmus?
you bastards.
You bastard. Yeah,
Mm.
you're just like the punching bag or the guinea pig. or
So,
whatever.
and we've been going along with it because I'm the one who dies in every single episode so far, right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Like,
that's exactly right. Hey,
except for the one episode where I didn't.
Now
right? Like,
you
you're right.
you with Rome, and I don't begrudge. Like I think it was a good move going vampire, right? You went vampire,
I did.
and
And
that's
I killed 2 of them by accident.
But that's
I found a way to kill the vampires,
Oh
man.
my god.
only you, only you. But that's because you didn't. Did you intentionally not go Void Singer? Did it just not come up? Because Roman Void Singer is like, butter and bread, like
Free obelisk every city.
free
Yeah,
obelisk in every city.
It just never came up, and so I decided just to go with. I'm
Yeah.
like the next one, best one is vampire. Also, I was kind of intrigued to play vampires. You guys said it was all fun, so I
It
decided
is.
to get the vampires, and then I killed 2 of my vampires on misclicks because I'm an idiot. So the first time was I had the auto cycle through. And so one of my vampires died, went to Rome, and then I accidentally clicked on an enemy unit to see like its strength, and it was on the vampire, and the vampire immediately tried to attack that unit and then died because it only had 1 health. And if you do that, the vampire dies for good.
Oh,
So
well, we love you, buddy. We love you.
I was pretty upset about that when it happened. I didn't make a big deal about it when it happened because I didn't know what happened originally. But I went back and I was like, oh, so I misclicked onto the stupid warrior there. And then I had another one where the vampire died, but it moved towards my other capital because Rome was no longer my capital. Apparently, if you retake your capital, it doesn't come back to as your capital.
Yeah,
So,
right. I thought that was weird. Yeah.
and so my vampire died and went all the way to my new capital where all the other bad guys were again. And so, yeah. So yeah, it was not. It was, yeah, there's a lot of bad stuff that happened in that game. A lot of it was self-inflicted. I will admit that. Like, I kind of neglected building defenses. Um, I was kind of focusing building a lot of units, and they just kept dying anyway. And by the time they were outclassed, it didn't matter how many units I had at that point because they couldn't kill anything, right? Like when Brazil has artillery, what does it matter if I have more musketmen? Like,
Yeah, they just get
okay,
slaughtered.
like they're
It,
not going to do anything. So,
it can. Well, not maybe not with musketmen. Like I know at that point, even I was scared. Like I was like, oh my god, like here I am with these horses that aren't doing anything. But in the end, you have to lose some units. You surround them. You're going to get some flanking bonus. But I had maneuverable, whatever my super horses are called, which I did not use nearly enough. That was like when I killed units, I got like 50 gold. I was like, oh, that's cool. I like that. So I should have been doing that a lot more.
yeah, that's like your special ability, man. When you kill things, you get like the gold that they're worth or something.
Yeah, it's only with the one unit he has. Only with the
it's
one
just
unit.
the one unit. Just with the one unit.
The Mamluk cavalry or something like that. I don't remember the name off the top of my head.
It's an okay unit. I think that the Mali with the Civ like the Mali
is that game was like, you guys ever see the scene in The Simpsons when Sideshow Bob was like walking, he kept stepping on rakes?
Yep.
Yes.
That was me the entire game. Like the entire game, I was just walking, just again, a rake slammed into my face the whole game. Like, there was like no point where I was like, I had any control.
did you use your Legion? Like, did you rush to your Legion unit and like?
I did, but so here's what happened. So the Mampucci declared war on me, right? And I initially went on like a huge streak where I was like 7-0. So I killed like 7 of their units, and I didn't lose any. And so what I decided to do was, I'm like, if I'm like doing so great, I'm just gonna move forward and kill other and start taking cities, right? So when I moved forward, the Mampucci was hiding like a massive army of like horsemen and cavalry and stuff, which are strong against my legions. And so I moved forward. I overextended myself. They killed like 5 of my units before I could retreat back to like where my territory was. And then by that time, they were just able to. They ran past my border cities right to Rome. That's what they did. And so,
isn't the whole thing with Rome? They build a frontier. You know, they can build forts. Did you build any forts?
So that was my misstep, right? When I destroyed everything, I had legions, and my initial plan was I'm just going to build forts, right? And then I'll just like put up like a defensive perimeter. But then I was like, no, screw that. I'm gonna punish them for attacking me, and then because they attacked me, they declared war on me, and so I was like, I'm gonna push my advantage. So I moved all my legions up, and they can't just build forts in the middle of nowhere. It's got to be in your territory.
Yes.
So.
Right. Or neutral, right? Or neutral territory.
No, it's got to be in your territory. So weird. I pushed into the neutral territory right outside one of their cities, and that's where their army was just like waiting for me. And so I couldn't move all my legions back fast enough to build forts.
Reminds me of a time when I declared war on Zoe, and I showed one unit, and he killed it, and he advanced on my cities, and I surrounded him with horses. And he was like, "Oh shit!" That was a good game. I missed those times. You know why? Because I won those games.
I know. What happened to the good old days?
Those are the good old days. Can we go back?
You know, I suspect, Moy, that you've just been humoring me with these last few games because you've been doing a few more unorthodox strategies.
Sort of. Yeah, I've been doing. Yeah, it's like I don't do my bread and butter, but.
Korea
was kind of my bread and butter, but like I don't know. What went wrong was like I was limited in my cities. I had China and America both forward settled so fast, and I'm like, okay, I'm already limited to where I can go. And so like I was even trying to take like the islands on the map. I took like the island between the 2 continents, and it didn't matter because it only had like 2 spaces of land, and so I couldn't build a campus there anyway, or I couldn't build anything I really wanted to build. It was just kind of like unlucky. So that's why I tried to take advantage of being allies with them and like try to get more with trade routes. It was my priority was science and gold. And so I'm like, let's get a bunch of trade routes. Let's make allies with these guys and trade science or trade gold and just like powerhouse that way. My science was really good. Just it wasn't fast enough to win a science victory, and with quick speed, I think that also influenced it. Of like, I couldn't get to the science victory. I was still so far away, and I
Right.
don't even think I was the leaders. Like people had spaceports. I didn't have a spaceport
Teddy
yet.
was
Like,
yeah, Teddy
yeah.
was
Teddy
super.
was straight up going to win the science victory at
Yeah,
some
I
point.
didn't have the production to support it. I was trying to level up Magnus eventually to put in my capital and have all the factories just hit the capital. With his
Right.
last upgrade, like all factories affect that city, and so the production would have been crazy. Never happened though, and I never got to that point, unfortunately. So, just a not a great game on my part. It's just it was okay.
I
Yeah.
think though, I think all in all we did okay. Like none of us were eliminated, and like we had this, we had our viewers. We had many
I
predictions that we
totally
were.
would have been eliminated if you didn't like purposely come over and save me. Like I would have been like, oh,
Probably.
actually, even with your help, they should have taken my other capital. Like
They
after I got
were
Rome back,
they were a
they didn't
little dumb.
they
They were
just
a
showed
little dumb.
up. They had no melee units. They're just
Yeah.
like, I'm like, okay. And then even the Mampucci, when they're trying to take over Akkad, they like, how long did they like wait with no melee units to even try to take it over? I don't know. The computer was being weird that game. They overwhelmed me with like overwhelming force, and then they're like, well, now I'm just gonna stare at your city for like 20 turns and not do anything about it. So
Even when
Yeah,
they
I
were
noticed
taking the
that.
city state, it was what an artillery and a field cannon. And that was it. And it took like 4 eras to finally get it to 0 health. But it was still no melee units, and there was melee units behind them, and it just
yeah,
wasn't doing
like
anything. It's
I don't
crazy.
understand why the Mampucci were spamming cultists. Like I think they had like 25 of them or something.
Yeah,
Like
dude,
that's
they
a
had
weird number.
so much. It was so
Like
much.
Um,
that's a
and
sound. That
and
is
they
a
were going
sound
out and
strategy.
they were going out into the middle of the ocean, and
They
like
That's
they
doing
dumb.
weren't even
nothing.
doing anything. They were just sitting in their own
Yeah,
territory.
It's a sound strategy though to use Mapuche with cultists
Yes,
because
yes,
it's
it
all
was.
about
no, I'm
lowering
not
loyalty.
knocking the fact that they built cultists. I'm back and knocking the fact that they built a bunch of them and then
Well,
did nothing with
but
them.
Mm.
and this is the curious thing, and you know, in our next game, we're gonna have the computer too. I'm curious if maybe the secret societies. I don't know. Maybe it did something to the AI. I don't know. I don't know if
Well, it
other
increases
people are finding
complexity. It
that.
increases complexity.
Yeah,
People
and
already,
it.
if you go on Twitter at all, people complain about the AI almost every time the Civ Myers Civilization Twitter posts anything. If you just read the comments, there's like people who are like giving them actual feedback. There are people who are complaining that the console bug is still there and exists, which they're going to fix in the next patch apparently. And then there's people who are complaining about they're never going to come back to this game until they fix the AI. And those are the three consistent topics on every single one of their Twitter posts. And so
Mhm.
like now I'm starting to understand of like even with like deity and stuff like that. Yeah, it doesn't. We've already talked about how it doesn't increase their
So,
their decision making,
but
but just their bonuses.
Yeah.
right, and I think I've discussed this a lot of times, right? I think people are misunderstanding like that. So when it comes to like real time strategy games, like usually the best experience is playing with human players, right?
Yeah.
Um, but it's exceedingly difficult in a game like Civilization, even in a more standard RTS. It's hard to make computers difficult to play against. Like if you're a human player and you play an RTS, if like you should be able to, with some pretty good practice, be able to take down most computer players on any difficulty. Um, it's just it's just the way it is. Like they're not they're very predictable. They become very predictable. They have scripts that they have to follow, and they don't adapt that script based on the changing outcome of the game. Right. So the AIs have their agendas. The agendas never change, even if like the move of the game warrants it. And so that's the
Mhm.
reason why they're so like that's also the reason why when we tried that World War II reenactment, as soon as you throw them into like a modern era where like they have to like build the cities outward and stuff, they just don't know how to do it properly, and they
Mhm.
do it at the same pace as they would if they were starting the ancient era. But the game purposely gives you enough resources to do it way faster than that. And that's why we just stomped all over them. Like it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't even we weren't even trying hard. And so it's just they just do whatever, and the game is so complicated that I think people are underestimating like how hard it would be to write an AI to
No,
do that.
I get it. So I'm a programmer. I'm a developer. My day job. I understand. I 100% understand. They're probably not like, uh, like what am I looking for here? Not necessarily computer scientists. That's not the term I'm looking for, but like machine learning experts or AI experts, because
I think,
that is tough. It's very
yeah.
very hard to do. Go ahead. You say
I was just computer agency, like that the computer needs to be, the AI needs to be better at making choices, and I'd love to see if that was just one of these packs that they release. Is like,
so.
oh, it's good AI.
They say like improved AI things in every patch, but it's so vague you don't really know what to do. I can give you a brief rundown of like how a basic AI works and like why it's really really hard for something like Civilization to achieve this. If you're interested, I'll do like a ten
I think
minute.
that would make a really
That would
cool
be a good
video.
video.
It would be a
Yeah,
good
I,
Yeah.
video. I'll do a quick
yeah,
5 minute. I'll do 5 minutes right now
go
though.
for it.
So
Go for it.
basically, if you were to think of the way a computer thinks versus the way a human thinks, a human can analyze and adapt immediately to its surroundings. An AI has to measure something, or a computer has to measure something and then adapt it that way. So when you see cars coming, right, you just know danger, and you move aside. Whereas like a computer would think, oh, this guy is 5 meters away from me, I don't have to move yet. 4 meters away from me, I don't have to move yet. 3 meters away from me, I don't have to move yet. And then it hits this threshold of like 2 meters that you have to program into it. Like if car is 2 meters away from me, move. So then it like, waits until that exact moment, and then okay, I'll move. So that's just the way a computer thinks versus how a human thinks. Then with game theory or game AI, you have to do this thing called a deterministic tree. And if you were to think of a game of chess, which is probably the best example of a AI, it has to think moves ahead in order to make a decision. So when you increase a AI difficulty on a game of chess, you're just increasing the amount of times ahead it can look ahead in terms of moves. And so when it's able to do that, when it's able to look ahead in the possible moves, what it does is it counts the amount of possible losing scenarios, and it takes the path with the least amount of losing scenarios. That's the ideal way for an AI. So there's the common uh, thought would be to go to the most wins, but that's not necessarily right, because if you just decrease your likelihood of losing, you kind of in turn increase your likelihood of winning. So that's actually the better path. With Civilization, there is so much in this game. Even on the first turn, do you settle? Do you scout? When you scout, how many tiles do you see? Which is the best tile given your current situation? Which civilization are you playing? Do you have access to mountains, water? If you do, which path on the science tree do you go? It's too much to measure. It's too much deciding, and that's only on turn one. But it has to, if it's going to look ahead and make better AI, it has to look ahead like 10, 15, 20 turns from now. And every turn something different happens, and it's almost impossible with a game like Civilization, where there's millions of possibilities that you can do, to
I think
one, make it fast enough where a person who's playing the game can be like, wow, this is like right now it's fast enough. It like when the computer goes, it moves immediately. If it were to make a really good AI, if you put the best computer scientists on this thing and make a good AI, it's going to take probably 5 to 10 minutes of thinking before it moves, and people would complain about that more. So here's a decision: do you want something that moves immediately and you get to play your game and enjoy it, or do you want something challenging but then you have to wait an hour before you get to move again?
I believe the answer is in the Star Trek: The Next Generation episode. I think it was called Stratagem, and where Data realized that all he had to do was seek a stalemate, and maybe that's what it needs to do. Is instead of looking to
Well,
win, just provide a challenge to make it that the
the
opponent
the other like
doesn't win.
avenues or plateaus that people talk about is that there's also got to be how many variables are in the game itself, right? So we can build computers that can beat human players at chess, but there's only a finite number
Right.
of
Exactly.
possible moves that there
Exactly.
are,
Yeah.
right? Whereas in Civilization, there's almost an on like you can make the argument there are millions of possible moves, right? Millions of possible outcomes. And so the more complex something becomes, the harder it is to make an AI to be able to compete with human players would be. And so, you know, people I think underestimate that, like in real-time strategy and stuff like that. It would take massive amounts of computing power,
Oh yeah.
right? Like
Oh yeah.
even the computers that can beat chess players, like they're supercomputers, right? And so it takes a lot of computing power to get the speed up so that you're not waiting forever for the computer to make a decision. Because again, you can the decision tree that Moy talked about, how many levels to that tree are there, right? That's the main question. And every level there is increases variability.
Well, even when you think
Right.
of the first turn again, it's like so if there's what, 6 possible ways you can move, right? So it has to measure, this computer has to measure, if I go here and I see this, what else can I do? So that's if you move one, it has 6 more options. And then if it moves another one, because it can have 2 movements, it has 6 more options. That's already 12. But then you have to like do 12 more, 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 and it all just kind of just adds up to this like millions and millions of possible scenarios. And it's very, very hard.
I'm curious if we had fewer AIs, if the AIs would end up being a bit better.
No.
It lends though to why Civilization has such huge requirements, right? As a game, like it does have for your computer, it's a pretty intensive. Or at least it was, when it came out.
Every time a computer moves, on my computer, since I'm streaming and everything like that too, 100% CPU usage. I can't talk while the computer is moving because people could say like, I can't hear you, your mic's cutting out. I'm like, well, my computer is at 100% usage right now.
What we need to do is we get all of our computer players and we force human brains into them.
Oh, okay.
And we have that the human brains don't talk during the show, but they're thinking for the computer and playing for the computer. And then we'll have hard computers and we just call them human AIs. And all we need is I'm going to need probably 6 brains and 6 jars and some wires. And I think I can do it. I think I can do it.
We'll provide that for you in, we'll say 3 weeks. 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
3 weeks.
Okay. Oh, got to plan. It's got to be on a lightning storm. Mm-hmm. Jupiter needs to be aligned with planet Clandactu, and I think it'll work.
I think Clandactu's in its waning phase that time.
All right.
Okay.
Or I guess we could just ask some humans to play the
That'd
game.
Be easier.
Then they don't have to lose their brains.
Yeah, we'll host what we're getting at. We'll host a community game in 3 weeks. So if you want to join, we're going to be posting a post in our Discord. If you're interested, react to that post, and we will know that you were interested. Let's take a little bit of a break. When we come back, we're going to be answering all of your questions. So don't go anywhere because we are going to be right back. Hello and welcome back to the Civ Show podcast. We suck, so you don't have to. Let's do a little bit of Q&A. Let's have some fun. We have some questions that we gathered from Discord and on Twitter, but if you're also live in our Twitch chat, feel free to ask any question, and we will answer it for you to the best of our ability. First question. I forgot to write down the names of these, so I apologize.
You know who you are.
But you know who you are. What do you guys think about future AI games being on lower difficulty, keeping with the "we suck so you don't have to" motto? It's a pretty simple question. Go ahead.
So that was, I guess, the nature of this is that so we could destroy it, like massacre it quickly. Is that more?
That's my assumption.
How quickly?
So
I thought that one neat idea might be as like a reward for winning, that you get a lackey computer ally that's like chieftain or settler. Like AI. So or if you lost the game, if you came in last place, it'd almost be like a crown of dishonor. Is we're gonna give you a little lackey computer to help you. Yeah, it was almost like you gotta buck up. It's like you don't want it. Like it's an insult if you came in last place. So obviously might get it at first, but eventually, or is it down? Is it okay?
For you,
is it
diagonal?
Okay, here I'll go full screen. Okay, it's like that.
No, the other way.
That?
Towards your coffee machine.
Here,
yeah, there you go.
Here?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're right.
Yeah.
And then it would be like if myself or boy ever got me, like, oh, we got the clown ally. Oh no,
place a decent amount of time. So it's not a foreign topic for me yet.
Yeah. I guess we could try. Like we just discussed, the AI it's not that chieftain is smarter than settler. It's just that you get more, units are cheaper, right? So yeah, we could try something.
I'm just not a fan of low difficulty AIs because I think you just bully them and it becomes not as fun. It's not a challenge anymore.
If I take the question, I think that's the point. It's almost like some free cities.
Yeah.
Right? It would be the idea.
Kind of.
If that was the case, and that could be interesting, where
it would suddenly eliminate Zoe's advantage of spawning all by himself on a continent.
Maybe that'll be a format, just maximum amount of players, huge world, settler difficulty. Who can take advantage of the computer the best?
or even like keep it a small world and just force in a bunch of way more than should be there, right? And it's just there's all these cities everywhere, all these empires everywhere,
like
and we have to go and conquer them. I could see that. I could see that.
I could see it.
Interesting.
That'd be fun.
Interesting idea.
Interesting idea. Okay. Moving on? Question mark? Nystagmus? Yeah.
Yeah. Moving on. That's
all right.
Good.
Yeah. Thoughts on which civilization fits which secret society the best? So let's pick one secret society that you're most familiar with, and pick one civilization you think is the absolute best for that civilization.
I already know the answer to this one.
The first ones that come to mind, and maybe we're going to cross out immediately, Ethiopia and Void Singers. Forget
it.
100%.
Yeah, 100%.
So forget that one. Let's try to be a little bit more creative with this. I'll go first because I think that if you pair Mapuche and vampires, I think that'd be very good. Why? Cool. Vampires want to pillage. And so when you pillage with Mapuche, they get minus loyalty. And if you just keep pillaging and killing and pillaging and killing, because vampires are also very good at killing units, that's just minus loyalty. So I understand the cultist and the void singer aspect to it, but I also think they're very good with the vampires.
Those castles will help improve cities like pretty drastically too, right? So like,
yes,
given those added bonuses there too. So
yeah, I like that.
Who's next?
Now I'm gonna go with Moy, your favorite society, your absolute favorite society.
Yes.
Who do you think the Hermetic Order is paired with?
Brazil. The only good one is Brazil, right? Because
I guess
with Brazil, you build the street festival and you do the street festival project, and it it boosts all your great people. So like that one I can understand. But if you don't get any ley lines, then what are you gonna do? I feel like if you have a really bad spawn, you most likely have a lot of ley lines. Like if you spawn in the tundra or in a desert, you probably have a ton of ley lines around you.
I'm still going to go back to my line from the last time we talked about this in the podcast, which is I feel like a lot of things that when they release in Civ, it's like if it's not OP, it sucks.
Yes, 100%. They are not OP. But I did see a photo on Reddit today of a guy having 4 ley lines in his capital city, and I'm like, wow, yes, that would be a very good instance to get Hermetic Order. But you don't know until you get it. So you gambled on it, paid off.
All right. So Zoe, Owls of Minerva, your favorite society.
They are.
Who can you pair that up with? Is it better?
I believe, yeah, they're. That's it. You're right.
With anybody, yeah.
You know what's funny, and we'll talk about this a little later. The community challenge that was issued. I was like, oh, maybe I'll try it with that. Maybe that would work. But that's for a little later. I actually think that the Owls of Minerva would go fantastic with Canada. I think that Canada is set up already for a great diplomatic victory. You don't want people going to war with you and destroying your trade routes anyways. So you're already buddy with people. You get so many diplomatic points with the Owls of Minerva. So I think that would be a fast line for diplomatic victory. And I'm looking forward to giving that a go in the future.
Are we eliminating the Rough Rider Teddy and Owls? Because that was pretty broken.
Yeah, sure, that was, but we've already seen that. But I don't know. I think even I could give them a run for their money.
I have 15 cities, 25 if you include all the city-states who I'm Caesarian of.
Yeah, they're all of them have above 30 envoys.
I'll one up you because I was thinking about this actually a little while ago with 2 of the other ones. I actually think the Void Singers would be really fun with Scotland. If you can keep all your people happy, which I think you can do with all the faith you'll be having and with the religion. But with that ecstatic bonus, that's going to stack in almost like Ethiopia. Only with Scotland, it's like everything, right? Okay. That yield bonus is everything. So I think that would be interesting. And Hermetic Order, I think, would actually be really cool with Germany. Because of the extra districts, you're going to be getting more great people. So if because you're building the extra districts, you're getting more great people points. With that single extra district, and especially because you want specifically every city to have a campus, a industrial ground, and a commercial hub. So I think that could make really fun, and because I believe the Medic Order, because it's such a late game advantage, you have to really not worry about it. So you have to just play your Civ as best as you can. And just know that eventually this will be useful in later era. And Germany's just such an amazing Civ that they're going to survive that long. And then since I'm doing this, I might as well go all the way. For vampires, I'd love to see vampires with Japan. I think that would be scary. Vampires with samurai side by side, I think would be.
Oh, that would be very scary.
Would be terrifying. Would just be terrifying.
That would be very terrifying. I will agree with that. This one's a bit of a weird question. I don't know if I don't really have an answer. I kind of made one up right now. If you can add any tech and uses for them, what would they be? It's very kind of a weird question.
Our own technology.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's where that was going. I'll start because I'll give you guys time. I'll kind of play off of the information security kind of technology where it increases your spy capability. Maybe it unlocks another mission. And what I kind of had in mind was maybe when you're building a wonder out of a city and they have a spy in there, it delays that wonder by 5 turns.
Interesting.
And that's a mission. And just
in general, that's a neat idea. Like sciences that affect spying and give you additional missions.
Yeah,
I think that's cool. That's a neat idea.
Thanks. That was my district idea, but they didn't include that, so that was very disappointing. So
yeah. I'd like to see. This is an old Civ 4
Okay.
calendar. Something to do with like specifically charting the sun and the moon and the stars and knowing when the eclipses are and stuff like that.
Okay.
That for your growing seasons and all of that. Like yeah, there's astrology, which is an interesting because it's the one science that sort of branches then from science and faith. But yeah, something to do with calendar, something to do with mapping the stars. I
Right.
could see that even for navigation, where we're somehow using that. So something to do with the calendars with the stars. I think that
What
would
I would
be
like to see is one thing correct me if there's a technology that does this, but they've one named this because it's one of the most important moments in 20th century human history, the Green Revolution. That would immediately like double or triple output of all your farms.
Oh.
interesting.
Um,
Interesting,
because
like
that's what
fertilizer,
the Green Revolution did.
right? Yeah, yeah.
And so
Feudalism
um,
kind of does that. It increases your farm adjacencies, right? And then rapid deployment increases farms, I think, as well. So like there are kind of like these civics that give you like the +1 to farm and the +1
what I
more to
want to see
farm.
one
But
is one that will truly lead to like when you build in your cities to true urbanization. So, for example, like we build all these farms around it for housing mainly until you get like other things for housing, but then you can get the Green Revolution, which allows you to have like one farm in a city that grows so much food that you just build neighborhoods over the rest of them, basically, to show urbanization that occurs.
Hmm.
Right? The Green Revolution allowed us to make like triple the amount of food on like half the amount of land that we
Right.
needed before it. And this is not just fertilizer; it's also genetically engineered or GMOs, essentially.
oh,
It's
factory
also
food. Okay. Yeah.
yeah, and so it's basically like factory farms that help produce like massive quantities of food.
Huh.
In fact, the Green Revolution made one thing actually possible for the first time in human history after the Green Revolution, and it actually happened twice. There were two of them, but we produce more food than what is required of us. Right? Like before, we never used to do that. There would always be a shortfall somewhere on the planet.
Hmm.
Now that's one of the tragedies of like current food distribution, which is there's enough food on the planet to keep every man, woman, and child fed. But the reason why there's still starvation is because we don't distribute the food properly.
Mm,
And so like India is a net exporter of food, but they have a lot of people who go hungry, as an
right.
example. And so it is a technology that would be interesting to see if it just immediately outputs like the food really, really high and helps you grow those cities to like huge metropolises um,
I
really quickly.
and then the
Okay.
other one that I thought they never did anything like with the telegram or anything like that,
No,
telecommunication.
there
Um,
is a telecommunication, but it unlocks submarines.
it doesn't really
So
matter.
like,
Yeah,
is that
like
really?
like I mean like where like literally lines of communication,
No, yeah,
and it
yeah,
could
yeah.
start with freaking carrier pigeons and then move up,
That would be cool. That'd
But
be
that's
really
almost
funny.
like an entire game concept that I just
Yes.
think they're lacking for
Yes.
logistics and stuff like that. But yeah, good question.
A little bit of a lighter and funnier note. If you were to go to high school full of all the Civilization 6 leaders, who would you vote for the prom king or queen?
Oh, that's a good one.
I'll
Hmm.
start. Gilgamesh, Daddy Gilgamesh, obviously the king. Come on. You can't say no. Are you serious? You're saying no? What? You guys, wow. Okay, dude. You're telling me if you had Gilgamesh in your high school and you saw his big, gigantic arms and he swaddled you like a baby and carried you off into the prom, you're not gonna like just swoon over this man? Are you serious?
Yeah, it's kind of weird wording there, man.
I don't know.
I don't know what high school you went to. The prom king never swaddled me and carried me off into
Oh,
the
really?
sunset.
Oh, okay. Just me? Damn. Okay.
Um,
What was that? Gilgamesh, prom king, 100%.
Actually, so this is kind of a sour note on our high school. The prom king in my high school was someone who wasn't even in my grade.
Nice. Right on.
Uh, it was someone who actually had graduated the year prior and was like dating someone who was still in high school, and so
Weird.
they
Okay.
somehow they came back for like a victory lap kind of thing. And I'm not going to knock the victory lap. I did that too, but they won prom king somehow.
Yeah, that's
Got
the weird
voted
part.
in.
But who in Civilization would you pick for prom king? Don't avoid this question. Or queen, or queen, or queen. Up to you.
I know who I'd pick.
Go for it.
Go for it.
Me, I would do. This is you guys. I would have Cyrus. You know, Cyrus is a nice beard. Okay. And then the
Gilgamesh has got a better beard. Come on.
the baby smooth skin of Alexander, because I'm I think love is love, so that's what I would do. Cyrus and Alexander.
I will give a runner up to Robert the Bruce, because I think he'd be a good king, good prom king. He throws good parties. You can tell that guy throws good parties.
Yeah, I was saying along the lines of like Trajan.
Oh, Rome, right. I had to give me a minute. Okay, bonus question. Who would you take to prom?
Oh. Who would I take to prom?
Who would you take to prom? If you have to quickly search the Civ 6 leaders.
Teddy. I take Teddy to prom.
You take Teddy?
Fun as hell. Yeah. Teddy,
he probably would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it probably would be.
He's a rough rider too, so
he rides rough, baby.
I think though Gilgamesh would carry you in, like yeah.
I go for I think just Teddy would be like an awesome
now if it was for like my own personal preference,
yes, your own personal preference, who would you take to prom? You're gonna ask this man or woman, can you go to prom with me?
Yeah. You go ahead.
I would take Eleanor, 100%.
Eleanor?
Oh yeah, like not even a question. No other contest. I'm trying to think of like another even possibility. Gilgamesh obviously up there, for obvious reasons. But no, it's just like Eleanor. And like,
I think Cleopatra would be like wild.
Okay.
I think she'd end up being like really wild.
I don't know. She's the Kingslayer. Are you sure about that?
That's true. That's true.
If you become prom king, don't hang out with her after that.
I know who Vector Cat would choose.
Oh, Tamar, 100%.
Oh, obviously.
Don't avoid the question. We're not gonna miss you here.
Right. I answered. I said Teddy. I'm sticking by
that.
Teddy.
He's sticking. Right. He's sticking. He's got Teddy.
That was the first to answer the question.
I'm sorry. I forgot. Okay. Is there a city state that brings you joy whenever you see them pop up in a game? I have one off the top of my head right away. Auckland.
Babylon. Yeah. I love my science city states.
Auckland is a nice one.
Geneva is also really good. Plus 15 science if you're not at war. That one's a good one too.
I'm trying to think of my favorite trade one.
Zanzibar gives you luxury.
I like Zanzibar. Zanzibar's a good one to get.
Brunei gives you like +1 extra gold for every trade route it passes. Brunei, sorry.
Is it a CAD? One of the military ones is crazy.
AKKAD. That's the one that Mipucci would try to take for like
forever. For like an entire
I'll look it up real quick. A CAD. It is a militaristic city state. When you are suzerain of it, melee and anti-cavalry units do full damage to city walls. Damn.
Yeah.
Yes, champ.
Crazy.
Just mentions look on the hair on Zoe, looking good.
Yeah, eh?
Hey, you missed Pappy. You gotta call him Pappy.
Yeah.
Today I did this for my kids. I brushed my hair down, and I was like, "Yeah, look at that." Yeah, hey.
You look like you're emo kid in high school, just going through a phase. I bet you listen to My Chemical Romance in your room.
This is true. This is true COVID hair here.
There is absolutely nothing wrong with listening to My Chemical Romance.
I like My Chemical Romance. I'm just saying.
Absolutely nothing.
No, there's not. Welcome to the Black Parade, Helena, Teenagers, great songs. But I'm just saying, he seems the type to lock himself in a room and listen to My Chemical Romance.
High Hopes. That's the
High Hopes is No, High Hopes is
Isn't it?
Panic at the Disco. What are you doing?
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah, sorry, my bad. I mixed them
Some
up. Sorry.
fan you are. Jesus, get the
I
hell out of here.
don't know anything about music, so or sports.
The Sharks. I will say my favorite city state has to be Granada.
Granada.
That's just because you went to
Granada.
school there.
No, 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 no. Sharkster
Okay,
said that.
so
Oh, Sharkster.
Granada. Yeah, so Granada is different than Grenada.
Oh, Grenade.
So-
What? Potato. It's all the same. Singapore's a nice
Your
one too.
builders can now make the Alcazar improvements. Okay, I'm really iffy on the improvement city states, so let me read this one. +2 culture. Occupying unit receives +4 defensive strength and automatically gains. So it's a fort. It also gives you science equal to 50% of the tile's appeal. Okay. I don't know. I still think it's like eh. I guess it's okay because it gives you science.
Yeah,
So they take what, 3 science at best?
the tile one, like I like the giant head one just because it's a giant head and has nothing to do with the ability. It's just like, oh, cool, I got a giant head. I think the best one is probably the science one that gives. I think it gives like all of your cities, I don't know, like +5% science or something like that. It's like what
15% science, and
15%
that's
science?
Geneva, and when you're not at war, yeah.
You're not at war, yeah. So, but most of the city states are doing like I like ones that give you free like cinnamon and spice and everything. Nice.
Zanzibar and everything
like,
nice, yeah, that's Zanzibar.
everything,
Yeah.
and everything.
No, next question. Let me go through. Rate Tamar out of 11.
What do I give her? 17 out of 11.
17 out of 11.
No.
Okay.
Out of 11. Seriously, Tamar? Did you know that Tamar doesn't retreat from battle? She just attacks in the other direction. Yeah, it's true. It's true.
I feel like she wanted to go to battle Tamara.
Tamara. She's gonna go to battle Tamara.
Tamara.
Tamara. She's going Tamara.
Yeah.
It's in a mean accent. Tamara.
Tamara. Honestly, with the new secret societies and void singers, I feel like Faith is like the new meta, and so I would rank Tamar higher than I would have before. I don't think they're down in the D tier anymore. I think they're actually like not so bad.
Oh, okay. I wonder who asked that question.
Not who
I
you
don't
think. Believe it or
I
not.
know. I haven't. You're right. I haven't tried. I've only tried them once, I think, and it was hard. Maybe with the secret societies, it would make the getting your eras. I don't know. So maybe I'll make them a 4 out of 11. I got it. It's hard to say though without trying Secret Societies out and Tamara. Maybe she's amazing now. I think Secret Societies make any Civ good though. So
Did you just say Tamara?
Tamar, never
Tamara?
Tamara.
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 I'll tell you Tamara. Okay.
ES Champ in chat asks, what is the easiest Civ for a new person to start with? I would say Rome.
They say Korea. I think Germany is the way to go. If you're a new Civ, or new to Civ, go with Germany. Because districts are so critical to the game, and because their timing is like, and you can mess up if you make the wrong one, build the wrong one. So I would usually start with Germany. Yeah, Rome. Rome is good, definitely.
Yeah, Rome, you get automatic roads, get automatic monument, right? It's strong in the early game, so kind of lets you play with, timings for like when your special units come out pretty easily, right? It's an easy unit to take care of too, right?
Canada's good too if you're new. Just so I find when I'm Canada versus the AI basically doesn't go to war with you. I found that like.
Everyone loves Canada.
One AI that won't like you, and then you'll have 5 AI that do, and it gives you an opportunity to learn the game, because you're not going to war.
It's a good point. Canada is actually a pretty good starter, but then starting in Tundra might be not the most
Get
ideal
out
for some people. But at the same
of
time, now Tundra is pretty good. So then
yeah,
it kind
Tundra.
of like you can go stay in the tundra or you can go in the
Although,
hills. It doesn't really matter.
no, the only thing I would say against that is that just so everyone knows, if you guys are a new player to Civ, Canada probably is like the most stereotypical Civ
Mhm.
like in the entire game. Like think of like what you stereotypically think a Canadian is, and that's what Civ Canada is in the game. Like, what's our special unit? Mountie. It's not a military unit. Doesn't matter. Mountie. And then and
Hockey
it's
rink.
like what's your special like arena? Hockey rink? What are we talking about? Hockey rink.
Yeah, it's just a hockey. It's
Like,
a hockey rink. Play some hacky. You know, you can only have one per city.
yeah.
Hacky. So we're gonna do two more questions here. This one
Okay.
comes from ES Champ in the chat right now. Between the three of you, what form of victory are you best at?
All of them.
Hilarious. I guess I think I would take the science. I think that's hands down, no contest.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Right on. Right on, Zoe. I think you're good at the score victory. LOL.
Probably for me,
Um,
domination would be my actual one that I'm.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
I would say for me, I don't know. I don't win, so so it's kind of hard for me to say this, but score victory is the only time I run. But I would say diplomatic because there was that one game where I was like so close to like crushing you guys with it, and it was just the timings were off just a little bit. I was planning on trying to get like two of the agendas passed, and then I was going to build the Statue of Liberty, but Zoe beat me to it by like 2 turns,
yes.
which
Yes.
also,
Yes.
by the way, happens to me a lot.
Get your
So
timings
what,
better, man.
so what happens to me a lot so far? Disasters hit me a lot. I also have like people taking wonders from me when I'm like one
Okay.
turn away from building them.
That one's on
Um,
you. If somebody takes a wonder
what?
from you, that's on you. That's on nothing else. There's
You
no
gotta
luck
chop
involved
down
with
more
that.
trees,
No
So
luck.
buddy.
what's going to happen here? Here's what we're going to do. We're going to wait for a time where a wonder is almost completed on your civilization and someone takes it from you. See, gauge your reaction and gauge my fun, happy reaction
I've
to it.
lost
We
wonder
all lose
anytime.
wonders.
Yeah, like what
We
the
all
heck?
lose
What do you
wonders.
mean?
There was literally a
I
game
lost
where
the
it happened to
Statue
me
of
5
Liberty
times in
last
a row.
game.
Probably to me.
Yeah, to you.
No,
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
no. How many turns were left on your Statue of Liberty?
I have no idea, to be honest with you. It wasn't that.
Exactly,
I don't think
right.
it was that many. I think it was that much. Like it was less than 10. Less than 10.
Yeah. Well, for how many? I've had too many times where it's like I've had it within 2, right? So you can't nail me for the timing because the timing is pretty good, right? It's like one. It's like a decrease of like 2 production basically.
Sounds like it was 2 turns too late, so your timing was not very
Yeah.
good.
The-
If you moved your hand, you got your goalie, and you moved your hand a second too late. Is your timing good? No,
It's the puck's fault.
it's the puck's fault. Yeah, clearly.
Gone a little further in the other direction.
That's a really bad analogy. We'll
How?
talk about it.
How?
We'll talk about analogies later because timing for like stopping a puck is different than timing things out that take many turns.
Okay, let me ask you this. Okay, let me ask you this. Okay,
So
wait. I want to ask you a question. For wonders, because I know with wonders, I plan ahead my wonders because there's certain wonders like the Zimbabwe. I got to plan ahead for the Zimbabwe, the Petra. I got to plan ahead. Statue of Liberty got to plan ahead. Okay, or the Armada, you got to plan ahead.
So
You need to plan ahead though. You need to plan ahead from like
let me no. So let me cut you off right there for a second. In order for the timing to mean something, it isn't that someone built it before you. It's a predetermined time that's uniform. So it means that did I get it by a certain era or a certain turn, not by when you built it. That's not the thing. That's not a thing.
No, but this is what I'm saying. Okay, so it may in fact be that you were even building the Statue of Liberty longer, and that I actually built it faster because I was planning to build a Statue of Liberty and I was ready for it. And when the time came,
We'll drop it because it's semantics, but
it's not.
You're making fun of.
I want to challenge that. I want to challenge that because when I want a specific wonder that I know I need this wonder, all right, I'm planning way before I actually get the technology required to get it. So if you and me are racing for Statue of Liberty, you're not ready. You just got in like, oh, I'm going to build it. I've been planning for 20 turns ahead that I'm going to build the Statue of Liberty. I'm going to get it done in 16 turns.
Okay.
Maybe going to take you 25.
You have to give me, like, you can't say when you decided to build it because I can't see what you're doing. I'm not stream sniping, right?
Do you turn Your wonders.
Let me finish the sentence. So it's got to be, did you get it before turn X? Right?
No,
You don't do timings based on when you started building it. You do timings that are universal that can be applied.
You're using semantics. I'm saying that if I'm going to build a wonder, I plan my civics as well. My policy cards are for the wonder because I want to get that wonder.
I feel like you're not getting what I'm saying, because when you say you play any other RTS, you don't go by I got it in this game.
Yes, I'm talking about civilization.
It's got to be something uniform that can be applied to game to game to game, right? So, for example, when I'm playing StarCraft 2, I was able to get something before minute 10.
How is it I keep beating you then to them? How is it I keep beating you to them?
All right, so you have to say that I keep on getting it before turn 60, which is when you should be able to get it. That's what you say. You don't say I just beat you and that's it.
Because my timing, I don't know what strategy you're using.
My timing could be good, right? And not as good as yours. It doesn't mean my timing is bad. Right? You're assuming that because you got it first, I automatically did a bad job.
I've heard this though a few times. This is an isolated incident. You beat me to the wonder, beat me by one or two turns. I don't know. It's usually the same wonders. You know, I don't know. You got to plan ahead for wonders. You have to plan like before you start building.
On.
Okay.
Last question. Gilgamesh, Frederick, and Robert the Bruce walk into a bar. Who vomits, who keeps his beer down, and who goes home with your dates?
Okay, say those again.
Gilgamesh, Frederick Barbarossa, Barbarossa, whatever, and Robert the Bruce walk into a bar. Who's the one that vomits? Who's the one that keeps his beer down? And who's the one that goes home with your date?
Frederick Barbarossa, Robert the Bruce, and who was the third one?
Gilgamesh.
Gilgamesh
vomits.
No, Gilgamesh goes home with your date. Robert the Bruce is the one. What?
Nothing. I'm just like, keep going. I'm laughing. It's funny.
Robert the Bruce is the one who vomits.
The Scottish.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Gilgamesh vomits. Frederick keeps his beer down. Robert the Bruce takes your date. That dude's a charm.
Oh, sorry. I heard that as puts his beer down.
No, so keeps it like just he drinks a ton.
Yeah,
and he's good.
So, yeah, I misunderstood. Yeah, so yeah, I changed my answer. Robert the Bruce is the one who keeps his beer down, and then Frederick the Great's the one who vomits, and Gilgamesh is the one who runs off with your date.
I would agree. Gilgamesh, 100%, running off with your date again with those big daddy arms.
He's literally stealing her.
Frederick is German, however, and then Robert the Bruce being Scottish. That's a tough one because like Germans are good at keeping their beer down, but so are the Scottish. So tough decision. But I would have to go with probably Frederick vomits because he's not really German, and then Robert the Bruce would keep his beer.
He shouldn't be the German emperor.
Exactly. Let me throw this logic at you though. So Gilgamesh vomits because he's all about the early. He starts early. He goes really strong early, but then he pewters off. Okay, like that is how Sumeria works. Okay. Frederick is strong the whole time through. He's gonna always be pounding back those beers and winning. Okay, and he doesn't care about what's going on. He's just gonna get drunk. He's gonna fight all the city states. Gonna knock them out. He doesn't care that you're complaining. He's wasted. And then Robert is a happy dude. He keeps everyone at the table happy. He's telling hilarious jokes. You understand everything he's saying too because he's speaking English. Okay, Scottish English.
Not really English.
And when it's all said and done, he's gonna take you out for a round of golf. And to get away from the ladies, so that's why.
It's a weird point. We as Canadians complain about the hockey rink. I wonder if the Scottish complain about the golf course.
Same. They got the same pain. Yeah. They got the same pain.
Oh my god.
I think so.
On that note, we will end there. Thanks for answering my question, by the way. I thought of that on the spot. We're going to end the Civ Show podcast. If you want to follow us on all of our social medias, we're available on Twitter, on Spotify, on YouTube, and on Instagram at TheCivShow. Follow us now.
And if you want the more intimate connection, join us on our Discord where you'll see me and Nystagmus actually love each other and we shake hands and say hello. Right, buddy?
And I have no other social media to talk about because Moy covered them all. So
You have YouTube, my guy.
got
You
YouTube.
have
you said YouTube,
YouTube.
didn't you? I could have sworn you said YouTube.
I did
Sorry.
not say. Even if I did, what is our YouTube?
I was mad
What's
because I thought
on
you
there?
stole my. I thought you stole my one thing to say at the end of the
I would
podcast.
never. I would never do that to you, buddy.
Yeah, so you can follow us on YouTube where I have my video series, Better Know a Leader. There are two of them right now, so Roof with Laurier, and I have the Maori with Coupe. So check them out. And Moy also does a good video series there too, kind of like miscellaneous videos as well. So that's great. And then I think Zoe is eventually going to have a video that comes out for us.
I'm all
right?
thumbs.
Eventually. Next
Yeah,
video.
Hypnos. How hard can it be, right, to make a video?
How
No.
hard can it be?
Pretty hard, I guess.
Next.
I've got all the footage ready. I'll show you how to win a diplomatic victory eventually.
Next video is going to be what is humankind. We're going to be comparing. I had access. What am I holding? I had access to the beta. I recorded gameplay of it, and I'm going to be comparing, directly comparing mechanics in humankind and civilization. And is it really the civilization killer that it is meant to be? We'll find that out in the next video. But in the meantime, I would highly recommend the Better Know a Leader. The Maori one, especially, very interesting. Would recommend that one. Until next time on Sunday, when you will see us playing the reverse colonization. Yeah, we'll see you on Sunday. There you go.
See you then.
Raising Zozo saying goodbye.
That was a weird.
We'll get this. We'll get this eventually. You just say, "Moist Sauce signing off." Raising Zozo saying goodbye. Nystagnus, see you later. I did it for all of you, so we don't have to worry.
I think that's my cue to end, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Bye.